the rich people want what the poor people got, and the poor people want what the rich people got, and the skinny people want what the fat people got, and the fat people want what the skinny people got. You can never please anybody in this world. The short people want what the tall people got, and the tall people want what the short people got. The little kids want what the big kids got, and the big kids want what the little kids got. You can never please anybody in this world. Oh, the girls with short hair want long hair, and the girls with long hair want short hair. Oh, the boys with cars want motorcycles, and the boys with motorcycles want cars. You can never please anybody in this world. It doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter what you say. There will always be one who wants it the opposite way. It doesn't matter where you go, it doesn't matter who you see. There will always be someone who disagrees. We do our best, we try to please, but we're like the rest. We're never at ease. Oh, the rich people want what the poor people got, and the poor people want what the rich people got, and the skinny people want what the fat people got, and the fat people want what the skinny people got. You can never please anybody in this world.
Welcome once again to another episode of the Moon Man podcast. What did I tell you on the last couple episodes? I told you that this podcast doesn't have a set date. It's not here, it's not there, it's everywhere. It shows up whenever it wants to. And just like we were last time, we're here again. Except this time, ladies and gentlemen, we are not alone. Do you want me to say your name? I would like to introduce you to my guest this evening, a good friend of mine, Dawson. Dawson, why don't you come on down to the seat?
Hello.
Say hello to all nobody, because nobody watches this.
Hey.
Dawson is my partner in spiritual crime, and we're here to save the world. Isn't that right?
Yes, but illegally.
We're not illegally saving the world. There's no such thing as legalities. We have some deep stuff to talk to you about here tonight. From what I've heard, I had to get another episode of this podcast going because Dawson has told me that there was something that happened recently, and I've been avoiding hearing about it. So, Dawson, if you would, why don't you introduce the topic of tonight's episode?
Well, I mean, God. I mean, that's not what I meant. I mean, how do you want me to introduce this? Like, I could be just pretty short and blunt about it.
Well, start with however you heard about this, what we're talking about tonight?
I was making dinner, and then my girlfriend emailed it to me, and she said, "Read this. It seems like something you'll be into. It's kind of long. Sum it up to me later." And so I got to work.
Yes.
And then it was pretty cool, and I thought that you'd like it, and I started texting you about it.
Oh, okay. And what is it exactly that we're talking about tonight, Dawson?
Well, my elementary understanding of it is it's a CIA
document.
Well, yeah, it's a CIA document describing tests and studies that quote they were working on that the CIA was working on to enhance people in like the form of like cognitive function and like strength, pretty much anything you could think of. And I'll save the juicier stuff for once we get
into it. All right. I've been saying since day one that the government isn't even real, so here we are. This may or may not add credence to my theories. I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen, because that's another great thing about this show, is the things that happen on this show are only as pre-planned as they aren't pre-planned. Everything that's said, everything that happens, everything that comes at you is exactly how it's supposed to come at you, and you watching this, listening to it right now, in this very moment, are experiencing the exact thing that you need to be experiencing, and I thank you for listening to this show.
Even if they're not here?
Yes, even if they're not here, I have faith that this show will find the people that it needs to find.
Booyah.
If anybody. Maybe I'm the only one who needs to watch it, in which case I'm making it for myself.
Making it for everyone, because everyone in your life will be affected. It's a ripple.
Yes, exactly. I am he is you are we, and we are all together.
That was profound.
That was I'm the Walrus by the Beatles.
Damn. I didn't know that song got so deep.
Yeah. No, that's one of the deepest songs ever. I've been telling this story lately, but if you listen to the lyrics of I'm the Walrus, they're fucked, and they're completely fucking crazy, and they're all over the place, and they're just impossible to understand. And it's because John Lennon was told once that there was a college professor that was, for his like lecture on poetry and shit, he was teaching Beatles songs, and so John Lennon went home, took acid, and then wrote I'm the Walrus and said, verbatim, his literal quote was, "Let's see him fucking teach this one."
That's hilarious. I remember one time when we were really young, in like late middle school, we were walking, and it was something I don't remember exactly what we were talking about. It was a long time ago, but it was like something along the lines of you were shitting on the Beatles. Because remember when you didn't like the Beatles? Yeah,
I went through a really weird phase. Like when I was with this is a history of me that you're gonna get here on this show. When I guess I'm telling this more to you guys because you've been there for all of this, but
I'll love to hear it again.
Yes. So when I was a kid, I loved like Beatles and the Elvis. I loved the Beatles and Elvis, singular, and all that kind of shit and classic rock. And then I started listening to the radio to fall asleep, and eventually I turned it to the like modern pop station because it helped me fall asleep quicker. And then I started using the internet, and I started liking Beatles and stuff back then even. And then up until middle school, all of a sudden I just started getting into random shit. That's when I first started like listening to music on my own time. And I started with like grunge and weird stuff. But as time went on and into high school, I started getting into metal, specifically metal. And there's like a weird thing that happens. Like the internet has these weird pocket waves that like grasp you. Wrestling was the most recent one to grasp me in the last like 4 years. But the first one that got me was the heavy metal thing, because there's a whole heavy metal thing with the internet. It's weird, the internet's very strange. But so I was into that. But the more I don't know if it's a causal relation, but the further I got into listening to nothing, narrowing down my metal taste to just brutal death metal and trying to find the most hardest brutal death metal bands I could find, that's also the most miserable that I was. The more I tried to specifically listen to only death metal and shit like that, the more miserable I became. I don't know if it relates, but basically later on down the road, when that shit gets fucking boring, because if you're a human being, shit gets boring and you have to change. When I finally did start changing and started getting into like classic rock and roll and stuff like that, the Beatles came back up because they're like a huge part of human history, and like people know about the Beatles. Some people kind of like them. Some people don't give a shit. But there's such a big whirlpool, rabbit hole that you can fucking fall into because they taught about everything. Everybody thinks that the 60s was just a bunch of fucking people with too much hair fucking doing drugs. But there was so much deep...
Dirty, stinky people.
Yes. That's what everybody thinks. But, like, if you actually look into it, and, like, if you watch all the 60s documentaries, they're like, yeah, and then this fucking thing. All the shit they talk about is, like, mainstream shit. And that shit made it to the mainstream. But the movements and stuff that they started and the ripples that they started were so deep and so complex and, like, so in-depth that it's, like, I'm convinced that there's, like, a whole secret reality that we don't even know about. All you gotta do is start buying, like, New Age books from fucking half-price books, and you start hearing about all this shit that you probably never heard about in your life, because there's, like, a weird basic level of humanity.
There is. A trendy term for it would be universal truths. Things that, like, remain true and, like, resonate truth throughout all of time.
What things?
You know, this is gonna look really bad that I don't have any examples, but
I mean like what in relation to what I was talking about?
Things that stay, like, there's a baseline human like truth. Understanding, that's the word you used.
Oh yeah, but even that gets fucked up because okay. I'm trying to collect my thoughts. I just fell into, like, a whirlpool of fucking cosmic radiation. But even that stuff, a lot of times people only see the basic shit. I don't know what it is. There's got to be, like, something going on with people's brains. There's, like, a whole bottom thing. Like, you learn about some stuff and you read about some stuff, and some people, they just eat shitty all day. And don't get me wrong, I still eat shitty, but I'm trying not to. I still do, but I'm really trying not to.
Want a carrot?
Yes, that'd be beautiful.
I'll split it with you.
Fuck yeah, it'll help me work on my eyesight.
Yes. Supervision.
Ooh, damn, that's a real ass carrot. You guys can't see this, but this carrot isn't fucking around. It's real size.
It's some Bugs Bunny shit.
Damn straight. How coincidental that we were talking about rabbit holes and now we're eating carrots.
Right.
I should bust out my Alice in Wonderland book.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I've been saying this for a couple days, but I need to change the background on this damn show to make the stars, like, move. Make it look like moving space.
Make them dazzle?
Yeah, like, just, like, space, like, moving around.
That's crazy. You know what I was thinking today?
What?
I want to live... This is stupid, but, like...
No, I'm laughing because we're carrot smacking
Yeah.
the mic.
This probably sounds awful. Does it sound bad?
I don't know. It's, it depends on fucking...
What if I get really close?
Carrot ASMR. Big sister eats carrots in front of you.
That's good eating. Shit. Oh, I want to live somewhere where I can really see the stars without, like, which is like I guess, like, everyone kind of wants that, but I only just now realized that everyone wants that, and I'm one of those people. But yeah, you were shitting on the Beatles, and I was like, we were walking down fucking our town.
What year? Or not year, but, like, what grade were we in?
I think this was right in between. It was the summer of, I forget the calendar year, but we would have been going from 8th grade to 9th grade.
Oh, okay.
We were leaving middle school into high school.
That was a good summer.
I was a good summer. And that was 8 years ago, I think.
Yeah, it was. It's fucking crazy.
And I was like, well, some of their songs aren't that bad. I like Here Comes the Walrus or I Am the Walrus. And you're like, that's their worst song!
The only reason I probably thought that was because that's the song I really liked when I was a kid. I was thinking about this the other day. When I was a kid, I was using the internet, like when I was really young, and I didn't have even like thoughts. And I would use the internet and watch shit. And I found out once, I was watching the behind the scenes, like special features on the David Lynch movie Eraserhead. And I started noticing there was a bunch of his short films. And I started to notice, like, fuck, I've seen this. And then me and Brandon were watching the next one, and I was like, fuck, I've seen this too. I was like, where have I seen these? And then I realized, dude, when I was a kid, I used to watch these on YouTube. And I used to watch the I'm the Walrus music video. It's no wonder that I'm so fucking weird. Like, this is the shit that I was into when I was a kid. Video? Yeah, it's fucked. It's from a whole movie. They did a whole movie that's basically about an acid bus. And that's part of it.
Weird.
It's very strange.
You know, I never really thought about the Beatles, but I remember I had this friend that was really into the Beatles when I was in like elementary. I had this friend who was really into the Beatles and had all the records when I was in elementary school.
Dude, what a fucking hero.
I know, his dad gave them to him.
Damn.
He just had him in his room.
What a legend.
And his dad was this mega hippie, and he was the janitor at our elementary school.
Whoa.
And he was awesome, and he was rocking this big old mustache. And his hair was like down to his waist.
Fuck yeah.
And I never like really understood that he was like weird.
That he was the fucking man.
Yeah, I never understood that he was the man, and also like was like maybe not the normal of a human being. And his house smelled kind of funny, and I didn't really know why.
This house is about to start smelling funny.
Yeah, and it I think I showed this to you, but
yeah, what has it got on here? Let's look at this in the light. It's got a chick. Is it a mermaid?
It's a mermaid.
Like a space mermaid?
I don't even know what kind of mermaid.
Dude, you want to know something crazy? I was watching. Remember when I showed you that musician Donovan? For those of you guys who don't know, Donovan was like a folk singer in the 60s who was actually a big part of the hippie movement. He fucking legit like hung out with the Beatles, went with them to India and shit. And I saw the Beatles. There's a music video for this Beatles song called A Day in the Life. And I was watching it after not watching it for a while, and I realized it's basically like, it's a bunch of weird artsy shit, but it's cut in between footage of the Beatles like at a party, right? And first thing I noticed was that Donovan was at the fucking party. He's in the music video for A Day in the Life. And then I realized fucking Mike Nesmith.
There's a music video for A Day in the Life?
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
I didn't know the Beatles had music videos.
They have a ton of them. I'll show you after this because we'll get copyright struck into fucking oblivion. But
oh yeah, we will.
I'll show you after this some of their music videos if we have time, of course. But
yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the Day in the Life music video. That guy Donovan, he's in it. It's like there's like a bunch of flashes and of the Beatles just hanging out with a bunch of people, including all their girlfriends are there, and Donovan's there. And then at one point it pans, and John Lennon's just sitting there having a beer, talking to Mike Nesmith from the Monkees. The Monkees are just hanging out with the Beatles in this music video.
So the Monkees and the Beatles hung out?
Dude, the Monkees, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and Alice Cooper, and various other random musicians here and there all hung out together and drank and got fucked up on drugs in this group that they called the Hollywood Vampires.
That makes a lot of sense when you say it aloud.
Exactly. Dude, this is what I'm telling you. This show, you know in like, in Midnight Gospel, the Magic episode?
You know, I'll be real. I'm kind of embarrassed to say, especially as I think the first person who's like, you should check out the Midnight Gospel. I never finished it.
It's like the third episode.
Oh, then yes.
The one with the fishbowl head?
Oh, the one with the magic guy.
Yes, exactly.
What's his name?
Damien or something.
That sounds right.
My mom always tries to get me into him because she thinks I like him. She says he reminds her of me.
I've listened to podcasts with him on it. He's a cool dude.
He sounds cool. Something about his voice, like his accent, makes me angry.
Oh, I kind of like his voice.
There's something about it that's fucked up. But basically,
he sounds like a really nice guy.
Oh,
maybe that's it.
I'll have to vacuum that. But yeah, nice people piss me off. I'm kind of no. I've been noticing that lately.
Nothing makes me angrier than a nice greeting.
Ever since lately, I've been like doing this reform and like rebirthing shit and all this different stuff and changing my like way of thinking and all that, I've started to be more myself and realize that like everything happens for a reason. Everything's beautiful. There's a perfect flow. There's no reason to torture yourself on the inside and keep yourself in fucking internal slavery, because the nature of reality is that if you do something shitty, quote unquote, you're gonna have to pay for the repercussions. In the words of fucking Sammy Sonic Classic fan, actions have consequences. They do, regardless of whether you want them to or not. So there's no reason to put yourself in hell and fucking ritually torture yourself on the inside every fucking single day. So that's one of the things I've been learning. One of the things I've been learning about letting go. And one of the cool things about doing that is when you do that, like you said earlier, it causes a ripple effect where it like touches everybody around you and they start realizing who they really are, because when they look at you, they don't see a sponge for them to put themselves onto, and they don't see whatever this idea of you they might have. They can only see themselves. So then it starts having this weird ripple effect on fucking everybody else, where they start being really themselves. Because there's a lot of like weird passive aggressive bullshit and stuff that people say that's like just like so see-through.
Work harder.
Yeah, well, like other stuff too. Like there's just a lot of empty shit that people say, a lot of dumb shit that people say, including myself. But I can't remember where I was fucking going with that.
I'm sorry.
Can you flick that onto the camera for me? Yes. But oh wait, yes. Okay, I remember. In that episode, if you'll remember, he talks about, when he's talking about magic, he talks about how magic passes from one person to another through a current, and the current through a current, quote unquote, and the current is like passed through fucking like language and stuff like that, because it's like a weird energy thing. That's basically electronically the point of this show.
Hey, reach more voices, right?
Yeah, something like that. But our record, side 1, ended. I'm going to hit y'all's with the ohms while I go flip this disc. And we're motherfucking back. Alright, Dawson was just telling me something interesting. The disc is flipped. Go ahead and just recount.
Well, something that's been on my mind that I brought up because of the music, or I don't know, chanting.
Yes.
The ohms.
Yeah,
you
the
called
ohms.
it.
Hitting them with the ohms.
My employer is from Thailand, and she was asking me if I would ever consider living outside of the country. And I told her I've thought about it, but I wouldn't. I told her it was a fleeting. I don't know what I told her exactly, because I just didn't want to tell her that. Yeah, I wanted to like leave. You know,
Yeah.
I don't want to. I mean, because it kind of implies that I'm not going to work there.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely implies that.
Yeah, it's like when I worked at, my first job was a restaurant, and then once I told my boss, like, hey, can I have this day off, because I'm, like, going in for, I was trying to get into a union. I was like, hey, can I have this day off, because I'm going into a fucking union, like, meeting thing, like, orientation. He's like, all right, and then a couple weeks later, I was only working 1 day a week. I was actually staying at your place. Remember that when my old house got repainted? And I was staying at your place? That was during that time.
That was a good time.
That was a good time. That's like one of the, as miserable as everything else was in my life at that moment, it was still great.
You gotta look back at it with some time behind you.
Don't Look Back in Anger by Oasis. It's a good message.
Never heard that song. You have to show it to me.
It's great. They totally rip off the piano riff from Imagine by John Lennon. Like, literally, they take the exact riff to start the song.
Well, that's unfortunate because I think everyone would probably recognize it if they heard it.
Yeah, but that's the best thing is, like, if you listen to interviews with the guys from Oasis, they actually know what the fuck is up. It's actually crazy. People don't realize that the guys from Oasis fucking, at least the guitarists, know what the fuck is going on. Because, like, I can't remember what I was going to say. Oh, yeah. If you ask them, because there's a ton of their songs that have, like, pieces definitely from other songs. Like, you hear it and you're like, oh, this is totally from, like, ripped off from another song. And then they talk to the guitarist and he's like, oh, yeah, I stole that. Like, straight up. He's like, yeah, I heard that song. I heard this other song. And I was like, fuck, that'd be a great song.
Hey, he's honest about it. Yeah, it's not his fault that it makes money.
Exactly, and they sold tons of records. There was one, and he wrote most of the lyrics. Like, every time I send you a cool-ass Oasis quote, it's because, like, he wrote that. And there was an interview with him one time where he's talking about his brother, because the band is two brothers who fucking hate each other.
Yeah, what was that?
I don't know. It might just be a fucking funny thing. Like, it could just be a meme, straight up. Like, between them. But, there's one interview where they're talking, and he's like, the guitarist is like, what does he say? He says, I do believe that he's actually schizophrenic. And he's like, I'm schizophrenic too, but like, in the way that I'm a Gemini. He's actually a fucking lunatic. I was like, damn, this guy knows what is going on. And if you watch his Hot Ones episode, he just seems so pleased to be like...
He was on Hot Ones?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And he talks about Hulk Hogan.
Okay. Huh, shit.
Oh, fuck.
Everything's fine. I'm not trying to shit on like a YouTube show.
Yeah.
But how does Hot Ones get such big celebrities on their show?
It's probably because the thing is with Hot Ones, it's most of the celebrity. Well, I mean, they get all sorts of people, but all the comedians that make the Hot Ones rounds are also the guys who ends up on the comedy podcasts and the H3 podcast. And then there's like one other, and like someone so and so asks the internet's weirdest questions. Like all these people rotate between these different like YouTube shows. So there's definitely like a corporate thing going on, unless none of it's real. I remember once I was watching Charles Carroll's stream, and he was like, oh yeah, you turn on TV. He's like, you see all the CGI puppets? You don't even know if fucking TV is real anymore.
I think of it as like a giant clique, and that clique happens.
Fucks kids.
They just apparently, and they happen to like post things on the internet, so you know about it. You know?
Yo, it's weird because like all the Hollywood people came over to like the internet, like Brian Callen podcasts and all that shit, like came up and like basically just stole like at least people stole people like me's like ability to be enslaved by fucking easily access, never-ending media, forever. And that's why literally when this Crystalia thing came down. And if you guys don't know, Crystalia was recently outed as trying to fuck underage girls, and it's just fucking...
He's a comedian.
Yeah, he's like one of the biggest comedians right now, who's like in with everybody else.
Like just normal people who don't go on the internet show me clips of Crystalia. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then this happened, but Crystalia, he was such a big part of all these comedy podcasts that like they're over. Like, but comedy, I can still kind of watch King and the Sting because I have hope that Theo's gonna be okay. But all the other podcasts, like, it's done for. Literally, the Crystal...
Why do you think it's done for?
Well, I don't know if it's done for in other people's lives. There's one reason, and his name's Mike Redbar. But, and I'll show you him later. And, well, it's a weird thing, actually. Mike Redbar's, like, this guy. He, like... Opie and Anthony, you know that about Opie and Anthony at all?
I should, probably. I've heard people say those names.
They were like a radio show, like a shock jock radio show, and they're the reason like Louis C.K. and Bill Burr and all these people are huge because people loved Opie and Anthony, and they would have all these fucking comedians on. Basically, Opie and Anthony, their whole cast became boomers, and it just became pathetic for them to be pulling the stunts they were pulling. And then Anthony Cumia got canceled for being a racist. And then the two guys who stayed on the show to make money ended up getting into fights on the air and being bitches about it. And then the one guy basically betrayed the one guy and got him kicked off his own fucking show label. And now they all have individual shows that the entire fan base hates. The entire Opie and Anthony subreddit used to be dedicated to organizing like big events for the show. And now it's dedicated to shitting all over everything they ever do. literally, to give them, because all they used to do was really fucked up negative humor, like just fuck with people, mercilessly attack people, like when that was cool and like funny back in the day. But then it turned on them. Now their audience do it to them and laugh at them. That's like the turn of events. And this guy Mike Redbar is one of these people who was part of that scene, kind of like Opie and Anthony type people, who then went on to start covering comedians, because his podcast used to have comedians on when he was really young, kind of like Opie and Anthony, but then he started to realize that they're all shitty people. So he's been covering them for like 15 fucking years, and only recently did I discover his videos. And he literally does these long videos where he's like, he deconstructs podcasts. You and me would watch these podcasts, we'd be brainless. They'd literally be like uploading fucking just nothingness into our brains. When you watch Mike Redbar videos, he'll take something you've probably seen a million times and make you realize, like, wow, this is the cringiest shit I've ever seen. And I had no idea. And, like, he's exposing people. And so basically the Chris D'Elia thing happens. Mike Redbar does a 3-hour show only about it. And he talks about the whole thing and exposes it and goes into all the details and gives, like, a idea about it. He's like, he's a sex creep. Nobody likes fucking sex perverts. All these comedians think it's funny to talk about their dick. Nobody should talk about their dicks. We're adults. Like... And he just goes off on all this shit. And it, like, really opened my eyes. Like, fuck, like, I can't even watch those comedy podcasts anymore because I just see them and I think about that. Earlier today, I was watching Hot Ones episodes, and I was like, there's no more comedian episodes. I was like, there's the Chris D'Elia one. I was like, oh, I'll watch it, I guess. And I turned it on. I was watching it for, like, 2 minutes. And I was like, ooh, I don't know about this. Chris D'Elia in his shows, like to mention, first of all, there's a few clips that came out of Chris D'Elia. There's one after this whole thing where he's, like, creeping on little girls happened. One of which is him going on a rant about how teenage girls go from 6 to 25. He's like, there's not even a teenage girl anymore. They go from 6 to 25. There's one episode with Theo.
Okay, pedophile.
Yeah, exactly. There's one episode on fucking the Fighter and the Kid podcast where Theo Von and him are on that, and Theo Von's like, I was a fucking kid, bro, I was 14, and he's like, that's a teenager, not a kid, but whatever. Like, just in passing, he says that. And then there's also one really fucking creepy clip that you probably saw in that video where he's like, oh, really? There's a ring of Hollywood pedophiles, and they get together and keep it a secret? Really? Yeah, right, that doesn't happen. And he's got these fucking horrific, scary eyes when he's saying it. Yeah, it's like... Yeah, he like fucking, it's like he looks like a CGI puppet. I don't even think he's real. I think this is like mythology. These are like the new lessons that are being taught to us. That's why they have these effects on us in our brains.
Don't be acting a fool.
Yes. No, I think there's something definitely biblical going on. And I do have to show you Mike Redbar because he's funny. But then I was watching this Hot Ones episode, right? And there's this one barbecue. There's this one hot sauce that they have that has like a kid on it, like who's like looking angry, and he points at it. The first thing Chris D'Elia says is, this kid could either be like 10 or 40. I was like, stop talking about how kids look older than they are, you fucking creep. No. And then he talks about all this shit, and the worst part is when, like, because here's another thing, he's also one of these guys who's parroted a lot of like the popular like feminist talking points in mainstream, which there's nothing wrong with, right? I don't think there's actually anything wrong with the ideology of feminism, straight up. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I don't think there's anything wrong with people out there fighting for it, trying to educate people about it. I'm an idiot. I don't know anything about women's issues. I've never been a woman, so I get it. But I don't go out of my way to constantly flog myself and pretend like I really, really care about exactly what everyone else believes. I fucking believe exactly what you believe so much. Whoosh, whipping myself, right? I don't do that shit. Like, all these other, like, famous people type do. And a lot of these people who are the super, like, defensive, argumentative online feministy guys are the guys who, it comes out, like, fucking abuse women and do creepy ass shit. It's always the guy who fucking talks too fucking much that is actually doing this shit behind the scenes. Because they say that, like, you know, you see the world... Like in the fucking 4 agreements, how one of the agreements is about what people say is more about them and it's not about you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, I think. I believe that's 100% true.
So true.
Especially since I started freeing my mind from all this bullshit. Because now sometimes I'll go to talk to people and I'll just be in like state kind of like in this episode where I'm not thinking about anything, I'm not having any feelings. It's just like a flow thing. And like I'll just let people, what they say, just come at me or whatever. And like... Before, I used to fake laugh. which is what everybody fucking does, and it's pathetic. I used to fake laugh, and like these overindulgent fake laughs, like I thought it was funny, and all it is to mask the inner fucking insanity that you're too afraid to look at. But I fucking, ever since I've stopped doing that, and I just stare at people and let the shitty thing they say that I would fake laugh at to try and not be confrontational to them just flow into me, out through, doesn't even touch me, it just goes right back to them, because it's just some negativity from them. Immediately their behavior starts changing, and they start like, usually that all of a sudden will turn them into outwardly acting insecure. And it can be almost a shitty thing. Like, there's a lot of mind games. You may start to think like, oh, I'm making this person feel insecure. Like, you might start putting it as a bad thing on yourself. But most people live in this world where they're just raping each other in the soul every time they get into these interactions, basically. And like, so when you don't do that and you don't allow that kind of shit to happen, and it flows through out into them, like, you just have to let that happen. That insecurity that they're showing isn't, in a way, it's because of you, but it's by proxy because of you. The only reason it's showing to you is because you didn't let them put it on to you. You let them express it, and then when they can see that you fucking aren't, that you're not a fucking idiot, then they get insecure. And it's just a thing. It's a growing pain. And I think in that situation, that's when empathy becomes really important, because you gotta let people go crazy. People like that, most fucking people, are these schizophrenic fucking lunatics. Like, that's just what it does to us, right? And so once you start making that step and finding all this information that, like, it finds you, really. Like, all these books, this Rebirth books and this, like, Bhagavad Gita and all that stuff, and the Be Here Now, Ram Dass. I didn't go, like, out of my way, like, oh, I'm gonna be one of these kind of guys. It just sort of fucking happened, right?
Mm-hmm. And the secret is to not be one of those guys, I think.
Yeah, just be a person.
Yeah, but you gotta be you. Like, Dave's gotta be Dave.
Yeah, but then, as much as Dave is Dave and Dawson is Dawson, each one of us isn't any of us. It's like an illusion, right? It's all fictional, basically.
Yeah, I think, like, the real spiritual thing is not to don the cape of spiritualism, but to realize that you need to keep taking off these layers of clothing.
Yeah.
Like, don't put more on.
Yeah, and it's fucking rough, because, like, when you start, also, if you want to lean into a little bit of a mic, so that we can sort of get in here. When you first start, obviously you're gonna fucking go crazy, because chances are you've spent your entire life, if you're still in this state, people who know what we're talking about will, like, already know what we're talking about, but people who don't know what we're talking about, who have stuck in this long and haven't clicked off, those kinds of people.
If you made it this far,
congratulations. Like, I commend you. Thank you. That's what I gotta say. If you made it this far, I love you. That's what I gotta say. But those kinds of people. Also, is this guy fucking rocking or what, dude?
Yeah, dude.
This is Tim Buckley. He's in the very last Monkeys episode. Also, this is one of the best episodes of this podcast ever. I just gotta say that right now. It's so good. Thank you for being here.
I'm happy to be here. I hope.
Fuck yeah.
I'd love to come on. You know, I'll just stop right there.
No, just come on again. But the very last Monkeys episode, they just got the rights to do whatever they wanted. So they were like, all right, we're going to make our kid show episode about a weed plant alien that a wizard is using to enslave people through television, through an eyeball on television.
I'm sorry, what?
The very last episode of the Monkeys, the studio told them they could do whatever they wanted. So they made it an episode about a weed plant alien that's being held captive and used by a wizard to brainwash and mind control everybody on Earth through an eyeball on the TV. And the monkeys go and stop him, go and save the alien, and they do save him, and they put him into a spaceship, and he blows a bunch of smoke out when he flies away, and then everybody just lays back in the grass and chills out. And then it ends with Mickey Dolenz, the drummer. He goes, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to my friend Tim Buckley. And then this guy comes out with his acoustic guitar and he plays a beautiful song. They were like, fuck this is our last episode, fucking weed plant alien craziness, and we're giving a guy that we think deserves to be fucking heard a shot on TV. And he is good too, and he died, unfortunately.
We all die.
Dude, Tim, this guy, This guy's son was Jeff Buckley. The guy who sings that Hallelujah cover, like the famous one.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a Trek.
Yeah. This guy died in the 70s, I think.
Wait, that's this guy?
No, this album's from the 60s, and I think he died in the 70s. That's his son.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Isn't that
Two
cool?
great musicians.
Yeah, dude. That guy's actually
That's
really
the only
good.
song I know by that guy.
Me too. One time when I was doing acid with this guy, he showed me a song of his from like the 80s. Apparently that guy's been around since the 80s.
Really?
Yeah. He showed me him and his band. They were like a grunge band, but almost. He showed me him and them playing on some show in the 80s. And like, the thing he mainly wanted to point out was that after they were done, the girl was like fucking creaming her pants over them. That's what he was like focused on, but...
The 80s is never something that like I really like looked into. Like I never got into like anything of like 80s pop culture, like movies, music, like television series, like books. Like there's nothing about the 1980s that I like can genuinely say like really caught me and like caught my attention.
Well, I've been saying this since the dawn of time. The future was invented in the 80s.
I was gonna say this article or this document.
Oh yeah.
Is from I think 1983.
The 80s was the first thing I was super into.
Yeah, you were always in the 80s.
Yeah, when I first came out, I was super into
I came out as an 80s fanatic.
Yeah, one of my first reincarnations was super into the fucking 80s. Dude, imagine that. What if reincarnation isn't just like when you die, you come back? What if reincarnation is always happening inside of you over and over again, and you just happen to be in your physical body for some reason?
I could buy that. You can talk me into that.
I'd believe it.
If you got smooth enough words, I could buy that.
Yeah, dude.
I don't mean to say buy it. Like, I don't believe
I can
it.
buy anything. And the thing with being an open-minded person is that somebody is always going to want you to fucking either get beat up or canceled for having an open mind.
The thing is like, ultimately, it doesn't matter if you know or not. So, don't really get...
What do you mean?
I mean, when people talk about, whatever, like,
Yeah, let's
kind
scoot
of
in the mic a little bit.
any kind of woo-wah thing.
Like spiritual thing,
Yeah, like,
where it's hard to explain.
yes. When it's hard to explain.
This sounds perfect, by the way. I'm taking out these headphones.
I forgot where I was going with this. I think I was saying something like...
The 80s. It's probably a good segue into... But yeah, I was very first into the 80s. It was one of the first things I was in. I'll just get that out of the way. The sci-fi movies and the horror movies from the 80s, that's when it got fucking good. That's when people understood that crazy gore was fucking... Of course, there's different things to like about movies. For a little while, I was only into fucking gore. But I never liked it because I was like... It still made me sick to my stomach. But the thing about it was that I can imagine the people sitting there in their rooms fucking building this shit. Like, the behind the scenes was just as entertaining to me as the actual movies. Because of the creativity. That's always what I've been fucking involved in. You said the other day when we were walking around that I've had, like, the stereotypical, like, artist thing. Or whatever. And that's one of those things that fucking pisses me off. Because, you have to, like, especially nowadays, you have to forge your own path, basically. You have to create something out of nowhere to get anywhere. If you're, like, a weird artist now. And it's especially hard when...
There's not a lot of money in it unless you're, like, a cookie cutter.
Yeah, or, like, there's something, like... There's some way to do it. I'm probably limiting myself. I'll just say that being a cool artist type sucks. Because there's too much insecurity. I don't know why. Is the art cause the insecurity?
No.
There's probably some beautiful, like, fables that, like, some fucking retard on bodybuilding forums would fucking just get pissed that you're not doing fucking steroids. Here's the thing that I like to think, that I try and help myself with in the artist thing, is that for every, like, huge, big, tough guy that's out there, either one of them is going to get, any one of them is either going to get cheated on and cry, become a pussy, have someone they know die and cry and become a pussy, or they're gonna die and realize that they spent their whole life fucking hiding who they truly are, and now it's too late. So either way,
You're a pussy.
yeah, either way you're a pussy. So fuck you. How about that? I'd like to just say what I can say, not in like a way where I'm like, or say whatever I want to say. Not in a way where I'm like, oh, I'm such a fucking tough guy, I'll say whatever I want. But in like, I'm probably gonna get my ass kicked, but I'd rather fucking say this and die than not say it.
Yeah, I mean, why be anything other than genuine? It's like every time you're not genuine, when you are like about to pass on, you gotta remember, oh, why did I do that?
Yeah, exactly.
It's so unnecessary.
Plus, I think it's good to get hit in the face every once in a while. I think like if most people got beat up every now and then, it'd be like a good like indicator of where they are in this universe.
I'm gonna send you a song based off that, and I don't think you're gonna like it, but you gotta promise me you're gonna listen to it.
What is it?
I'm not gonna say. Okay, I will. I don't know why. See, that's case in point. Why wouldn't I say?
You got your beer over there.
It's gone.
Oh, you drank it?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay, we continue.
The Remedy by Pussifer.
I'll listen to that.
Pussifer is like kind of, for me, they're kind of but they got some good songs. I think that's one of them.
Okay. Cool. Well, I'm going to hit the ohms again. We're going to flip this disc, and then maybe we should get into the fucking... We've been having a great conversation just right off the bat. But maybe we should get into those damn CIA documents when we come back.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy the ohms. Cleanse your souls, light your candles, close your eyes, and we will be right back. All right, we got Forrest Gump playing in the background, and we're back. Dustin, you just asked me what I think of all the Beatles' individual solo albums.
Yep.
Or solo careers. Paul McCartney's is just full of radio hits. It's just like, if you're in the right mood for just some fun rockin' stuff.
If you're driving in the sun.
Yes, listening to that. If you're, like, just deathly not sad, if you're, like, just deadly peaceful, like, you just finished being, maybe you were really happy at one point, and then maybe you were really depressed, and now you're just fucking, just right in the middle, just chilling, then George Harrison's fucking solo albums are the shit. Those are the ones to listen to. John Lennon's first 3 solo albums are like 20-minute noise sounds, and then they'll just cut in between audio of him and Yoko talking about political things. It's really weird. And then, but then he finally was like, all right, Yoko, I'm done fucking around. It's time to make some actual music. And he fucking, and he started releasing albums with actual music on them. The first one, I have it, and it's good. I don't know, man. John Lennon just perplexes me to some degree that I don't even understand. Like, he seems so cool on one hand, but then on the other hand, it's like he seems like such a fucking piece of shit.
Didn't he, like, beat women?
That was, like, really earlier on, which is still not good. But
it doesn't make it better.
No, but when he was younger...
It wasn't Oka?
Yeah, no. When he was younger, he was violent and shit. But then later on, he, like, renounced all that. By the time they made Sgt. Pepper's, he has a line in It's Getting Better All the Time about, like, how he used to be a woman beater, basically, and he felt bad about it. One of the other things I think illustrates the difference between Paul McCartney and John Lennon is that song, It's Getting Better. Because Paul McCartney wrote the fucking main line, have to admit it's getting better, a little better, all the time. And then you know what John Lennon's contribution line was?
What?
It couldn't get no worse. So it's like, shit, man. You know what I mean? Like... And that's always how I feel. I just feel like he needs to calm down. But then sometimes he seems...
John Lennon needs to calm down?
Yeah. But then sometimes he seems super chill and, like, normal. But then sometimes he's just fucking crazy. Like, there's one song on that...
This is another great song.
This song?
Yeah.
I've never even heard this one, I don't think.
You'll like it.
Ollie Rocks, also I think I'm realizing now that that's Neil Young. They both sing for this band. Damn, dude, I didn't even know. Neil Young and Stephen Stills, man, layers for days. And David Crosby also rocks. Graham Nash also rocks. They're all good.
What band is this?
Buffalo Springfield.
Oh, this is Buffalo Springfield.
Yeah.
You know, you told me that. I was just looking at the art of the album.
The art's really good.
It is.
That's probably why it's so famous.
They're great.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've listened to them a little bit here and there. I've never, like, sat down and listened to this one specifically. But I've listened to, like, their first, like, 2 albums. But yeah, it's Stephen Stills and Neil Young in this band, which I didn't know at first. It's like when I was younger, though. Some hippie person would probably fucking kick my ass for not knowing that.
I don't know. Yeah, some like vegan is gonna like practicing like meditation. Is gonna get up and whoop your ass for not knowing that.
He might. But just like how people tried to kick my shit in when I didn't know in 8th grade that Ozzy Osbourne was a singer for Black Sabbath before he was in his solo thing. I just thought that Black Sabbath was some random band with a different guy.
I didn't know that either.
It fucking blew my shit apart when I figured that out.
You can't be expected to know that.
No, especially when you're that young.
Yeah. It's like it's not coming out. It's not new anymore. It's just some old shit.
Yeah.
And that's not to say it's not great. But like being like when you're born and it's already existed, no one's talking about it like it's like a big deal. Everyone knows about it already.
Yeah.
At least your parents. It's not until like it's like people like your own age and you're talking about like, oh, like when it's new to you, it's cool, but
yeah.
I mean, maybe not cool.
No, exactly.
It's good. It's always good.
That's a bigger thing with everything, though, is that you should never talk about anything.
Yeah, that's the real secret, but
The real
at the same time be open to honest conversation.
Yeah, exactly. No, the words need to happen. They need to come from you, basically. Well, not you, but like you, everyone. Yeah, exactly.
Not you, but me.
Yeah, not me, but you. Like everybody.
I'm the Lord.
Yeah. I was thinking.
Came around full circle. Was that all the Beatles or not?
No, I saw.
There's one more, right?
Yeah. Every time I talk about John Lennon, it hits me in some weird part of my brain that makes no sense. But
John Lennon is just an art hoe.
That's totally true. But there's something about him that rocks.
He rocks harder than anyone, but he's an art hoe.
He definitely is. I think that's totally true. Yeah. That's true.
Always has been.
Yeah. No, that's not false. Paul McCartney's just been like, I've said since the dawn of time, #Alpha Paul.
What does that mean?
Paul's the fucking man. Before Yoko Ono hypnotized John Lennon, she tried to hypnotize Paul McCartney. There's footage of it. She went to him first because she was trying to get a Beatles song for some documentary. And she like stared at him, tried to give him the weird like fucking hypnotism stare. And he was having none of it. He was just like, yeah, get out of here. John might give you the song though. And so she went to ask John Lennon for permission, and the next thing you know, she's hypnotizing him.
Wow.
Supposedly, John Lennon was with his having an affair on a different island with his also Asian agent or secretary. And Yoko Ono came out and found him at like stalked him basically to a local market. Where she told him that she found a weird cure for smoking cigarettes. Like a weird hypnotism cure for smoking cigarettes. So he went back with her, and then the lady said that he was over there having the affair with, said the next time she saw him, which was a couple days later, he, quote, looked confused like he had no idea where he was. So hearing that kind of shit is like spooky. Also, Yoko Ono's like related to like the people who own the Japanese government, so that's also weird.
So what you're saying is she's powerful.
Yes, she's too powerful. Because think about it, as much as we can talk shit, everybody knows who she is. Like everyone knows who she is, so people can go on YouTube or whatever and watch her fucking weird screaming videos inside of museums and shit and laugh about it and talk about how shitty it is. But at the end of the day, that's like a view that goes into the money that she's gonna get. So it's like, she wins. I think Yoko's the embodiment of women win no matter what. Like, it's just time to give up.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, and I'm not one to throw out wild accusations, but she's probably in the celebrity pedophile ring. She's like that level powerful. She's that god tier.
Dude, what about...
I don't really mean that.
What about power? What about power obtaining unquestionable amounts of power? Makes people want to fuck kids. It makes no sense.
It's the worst thing you can do. I mean, maybe. I hope there's not anything worse than that.
I hope so too, but at the same time, I still don't get it. Like, why? Why does that become the thing that they all want to do?
Because they've done everything else. When you're that when you're that up there, maybe not up there, but because I don't know what.
See, these people, I think that this is just the embodiment of like evil human beings. Or, I mean, if you've ever seen Jeffrey Epstein's teeth, it's kind of hard to say that he's a human being. Google that. Google Jeffrey Epstein's teeth. Find a picture of him standing next to fucking Trump in like the early 90s. It's horrific. But he got them fixed later on down the road. Changed completely, if you'll imagine that. He was smiling in this Trump picture with this big smile where he has way too many fucking teeth. And he's got really big gums, and it looks fucking horrific. And then there's another picture of him. That was when he was young. It's one of the only pictures of him smiling when he's young. And then every other picture of him, he's not doing a full mouth smile. B, you can only see the couple front teeth, and they look like normal now. So I wonder what that's fucking about.
That's
huh?
weird.
Yeah, that's kind of strange.
I don't know.
We're gonna get shot in the head for doing this show, by the way.
Oh, shit.
Speaking of which, let's talk about these damn CIA documents, Dawson.
Oh, yeah.
That's the whole... We're already a fucking hour in. I was, for a second, I'm not gonna lie, but before we started, I get nervous sometimes before I do this show. I'm not gonna lie to you people. I was afraid to get on here, because I was like, what if I can't think of anything to say, and I start freaking out, internally. But we just fucking...
There's something to talk about.
There's too much to talk about.
There's something to talk about. Oh, I'm freaking out right now. Like, if you're ever in doubt, I'm freaking out right now, guys. I don't know what to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Delve into that.
Ooh. That's fair to start deconstructing and psychoanalyzing yourself. It's a self-help podcast.
So how you want to do this? Do you want to listen to a little bit of the tape first? Or do you want to...
Does the actual video, or do the documents explain what's in the video?
Yes.
Then we should start with the documents.
Okay.
Could you hit the record player, actually, so we can really focus on this? Going in deep, all right?
Should I keep it playing or turn it off?
Just turn it off right now. We're going in deep. All right, first we got to get over to we got to edit up a couple things for you here. First we're going to pull that up. You guys can't see it yet, but in a matter of seconds, you will be able to. Wow, we don't use this screen very often.
It's adorable.
It is kind of cute. I thought about it, like, there's just an anime on this show.
Who doesn't like anime?
Everything is anime. How about that? All right, here we go. Now you guys can see all. These are our motherfucking CIA documents. Dawson, lead the way.
All right. Well, I don't know how deep you want to go into this.
Just let it happen.
All right. Well, fuck, man. I don't know where to begin. Like, do we want to read all this? There's a lot of it.
There does appear to be
I
a
could
lot. Just skim through to the parts that you think are the most damning.
Okay.
That you've seen so far.
Okay. Well, I guess spoiler alerts, I guess. Well, here's his introduction that... Oh my god. I'm about to do this. I'm the worst at reading aloud, but...
No, you can do it. Believe in yourself.
You tasked me to provide an assessment of the Gateway experience in terms of its mechanics and ultimate practicality. As I set out to fulfill tasking soon became clear. In order to assess the validity and particularity.
The validity and practicality.
Oh my god, yeah, I'm retarded.
Of the process.
Where am I? Yeah, of the process, I needed to do enough supporting research and analysis to fully understand how and why the process works.
All right, first of all, I'm getting super hardcore vibes to that Rebirthing book. There's and as you can hear, the wind's blowing out there, so the earth agrees with us. This needs to be heard. Listen to it, man. Every time I feel good, the wind blows. It's cool. There's a Cat Stevens song about listening to the wind.
I love that song.
This is a great song.
It is a great song.
This is already reminding me, if any of you guys can pick it up, there's this book called A Guide. What is it called? It's called like A Guide to Rebirthing in the New Age by some chick called like Sandra Lynn and like Leonard Orr. And you should read it. It'll fucking change your shit. Everybody should read it because it's fucking crazy. And it talks a lot about like weird like inside things, like inner realm shit, inner being shit, like exploring the inner realms and all that crap. And a lot of the kind of like language that they use to really like help you pick up the vibe of everything going on is very reminiscent of already this first fucking paragraph. It already reminds me of something like that.
That's insane.
Let's keep going.
You own it?
Yeah.
You'll have to let me borrow it. Is that the one you're reading right now?
Yeah. Look, I'll show you the cover. turn on the light. Dude, no, literally, I'm telling you, this book is fucked up. Look at the cover.
That's awesome.
There's one part where they talk about a story in the book. The main writer talks about a story of two people who rebirthed together, a couple, and she was like, you can see them pictured on the front of this book. And then you turn to the front, and it's this fucking picture. You'll see it if you look up the book.
I love it.
Yeah, dude.
Whoever drew that, does it give credit?
It probably does somewhere in there, but the thing about this book that's crazy is, like, as you read it, if you're, like, open and you're looking for shit, like, I don't know about everyone else, but for me, it's, like, the answers were perfect. It was, like, when I'm in the process of reading, like, this book, it's literally like I'm in a simulation. Like, nothing's even happening. Like, it's not even real. like, I'll have to sit back. I'll read something in this book and have to sit back and think about it. Not even think about it, but just, like, let it overtake me. And, like, I'll read something in it, and I'll just sit back and go, whoa, and I'll just sit there for, like, a couple minutes, and it'll just fucking hit me. And, like, I've been reading it out in the sun, so I'll be, like, looking up the sky and shit, and being like, wow. Like, it's just fucking nuts. Of course, if you're not, like... This podcast is gonna have to have a certain demographic. I think this podcast definitely has a certain demographic of people.
Yes.
Well, let's get back to these damn CIA documents.
All right. Well, long story short, man.
Do you want me to read it?
Yeah. How don't you read it?
Okay, I'll start with this first one. Analysis process, why process works. Frankly, I love when something starts out with frankly, sir.
Yeah.
Frankly, sir, that proved to be an extremely involved and difficult business. Initially, based on conversations with a physician who took... I'm just as bad as the shit at you as you are. With a physician who took the gateway training with me. Okay. I had recourse to the... I'm taking these glasses off. I had...
biomedical
models developed by Itzhak Bentov, which sounds like a Russian name, quite frankly, sir, to obtain information concerning the physical aspects of the process. Then I found it necessary to delve into various sources for information concerning quantum mechanics, which sounds like, what is that, CERN? Is that like quantum mechanics? That's like the time machine, like fucking Tesla, Nikolai Tesla, who supposedly was working on a time machine, and then the police busted in, and they took all of his shit.
Do you want me to give spoiler alert?
Sure.
They do talk about time travel.
They do?
Yes.
Fuck yeah, dude. They've been working on this shit since the beginning. Dude, there's also this thing called gematria, right? There's a gematria calculator when you can put your name in it, and your full name, first, middle, and last. And I don't know exactly how it works, but there's a bunch of numbers where, like, in different numbers, somehow to another language, it brings sentences out. And I was reading mine, and some of the ones about mine, like what David Michael Zafire turns into when you put it into the gematria calculator, is crazy. One of them was straight up Psalm 77, and I like in the Bible, and I started reading it, and it was like, you have to, the basic gist of it was like, you have to figure out a way to tell people. And I was like, fuck, that's what I've been doing.
I'm trying.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, God, I'm trying.
Help me out.
Yeah, come on, dude. I know you're out there. Angels too. But, so it looks like a lot of this is about this gateway experience. What the fuck is that?
The gateway experience is there's my understanding is they're sound tapes that are meant to let me scroll down here. Change your affect your right and left brain hemisphere.
Dude, the people in the book I was talking about were doing like meditation experience where they fuck with from the inside, fuck with the right and left brain.
Mm-hmm. They talk about this.
Dude, and this is the 80s? See, they were working on this shit in the 70s and the 60s.
Dude, they've been working on it since...
forever. I'm telling you.
Since the dawn of time.
I'm telling you, the government...
Everyone's been working towards it, and it's just...
I'm telling you, the government's not even real, dude. What, this is just okay now? No, it's okay now because it fucking is. It just is, dude. We haven't even read it yet, and it's already blowing my mind.
Let's see. Man.
So what were they trying to do with both sides of the brain?
Okay, yeah.
Oh wait, what is the paradoxically part? Because there's tons of paradoxes and like weird spiritual stuff. Paradoxically, having gone to such great lengths to avoid trying to render judgments based on occult or dogmatic frame of reference, in the end I found it necessary to return, at least briefly, to the question of the impact of the gateway experiencing on common belief. I did so because although it was essential to avoid attempting to render an assessment in the context of such systems, I felt that it was necessary, after completing the analysis, to point out that the resulting conclusions do not do any violence to the fundamental mainstream of either Eastern or Western belief system, unless that point is clearly the gateway experience in the mistaken belief that it contradicts and is therefore alien to all that they hold to be right and true. Wait, what does that last part say? Unless the point is clearly established, the danger exists that some people will reject the whole concept of the gateway experience in the mistaken belief that it contradicts. Dude, so literally what they're talking about is the CIA is literally just, they've been doing experiments on something that fucking Ram Dass, fucking this guy Leonard, or fucking Eckhart Tolle have been writing about forever. Like the fundamental being, like that existence of just straight up being, and the here and the now, the be here now by Ram Dass, the power of now by Eckhart Tolle. All those things let you keep like your religion. Well, I mean, the be here now is a little bit skewed towards Indian religion, but like the Power of Now book by Eckhart Tolle is literally about you can keep whatever religion you want. This is like the now. And I've always had this theory in my brain that the now was either a couple things. It was like the universe working harmoniously, maybe there's an afterlife, or it's all inside of the computer fucking simulation, and being in the now, the spiritual thing, is actually a weird technological alien thing that we have no idea about. And it sounds like these CIA documents are just proving my point that I already knew inside of myself. Nothing's real. Beatles, Strawberry Fields Forever.
What is that?
They'll know.
They'll know.
Continue though. I want to hear this.
Well, let's just roll into the.
Did it just get released, or was it released a long time ago?
It was released, approved for release 2003.
That was a while ago.
Yeah.
Wait, so this has been out for a minute?
Yeah.
Oh. And people...
17 years.
Dude, what the fuck? And people are on Facebook complaining about shit?
I know. Go fucking die.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, no, for real. Sometimes I go on Facebook and I'm just like, oh, you should be shot.
What are you doing? Like, why are you alive? Like, ask yourself genuinely.
Exactly. The only way it makes sense, the only way that I would not feel, because I have moral dilemmas about that. Sometimes I'm like, these people are nothing people. But as somebody who wants to be an artist type, these nothing people are the people I would need to give me fucking money to do my shit. So maybe nothing people are important. They're fucking non-playable characters in the simulation. All right. Sam Hyde said, imagine life as a role-playing game where you're playing as yourself. As an RPG where you're playing as yourself.
That's a good one. So, I guess here's where it really starts. Introduction. In order to describe the Monroe Institute technique for achieving altered states of consciousness,
Woo!
The gateway experience involving brain hemisphere synchronization, or hemisync,
like
your hemisphere sync.
Oh, okay.
The most effective way to begin is to briefly profile the basic mechanics which underlie operation related to methods such as hypnosis, transcendental meditation, biofeedback.
Yes.
It is easiest to... Sorry, I lost my place. It is easiest to effectively describe what the gateway is by beginning to... With a short description of those association techniques.
True common aspects with the gateway experience, but which are nevertheless different. Oh, okay. So these things are different than the gateway experience, but you don't need to rule out your own. So the guy basically in this document said at the beginning there, from what I understand, he said, this is like a crazy thing that we're doing. And people might turn away from it mistakenly thinking that it's going to rule out their own personal belief systems, but it doesn't.
No, they even later down they talk about like Zen Buddhists and people who practice Tibetan Buddhism. Mm-hmm. people who like basically people who like practice meditation.
Yeah.
They were able to go in and out of different these different like focus levels that they later go on.
That's what it is. That's what it is, dude. That's what when I go through those focus levels too, dude. These are things that fuck everybody. Okay,
that's what Buddhism is about, is going through those different cycles.
Yes, that's what a lot of this shit is about. That's what a lot of these things are truly about. They've been used wrongly by certain people, but who's doing it? If the CIA was doing stuff like this, then where the fuck is the evil shit coming from? What if the evil shit is just like a mass manifestation, like I was telling you about?
It's all
Think about it. Every motherfucker out there who's talking about how COVID's a big deal and all the shit and believes everything that the media says to a fucking T, everybody out there who's doing that is also, a lot of times, are people who think and shit talk on like spiritual stuff. All right, fucking people, if you think the government's so fucking real, here's the government literally saying that fucking this shit is real. So suck my dick, you idiots.
Mic drop.
Some people should just be killed. I don't know. I don't know how to put that.
Eventually they'll die.
That's fair. That's obviously a joke, by the way.
Yeah.
Except for
now that we're reading this, it clicked back with me.
That's good.
What this was about. Okay, so the idea is that with certain sound waves, they can change how your brain hemispheres are reacting and attune them to different wavelengths, and they can.
Oh, I dig this picture so much. Look at the face.
It's
hand and face on the brain. That's so cool.
Similar to like what you would get out of meditation, maybe a psychedelic experience.
Is it like those YouTube videos where they play like healing music, 435 hertz, or like 670 hertz?
Can I show you what it's like?
Yeah. Oh, we have it. We have it here.
Yes, we do.
Give us a here before we even play this shit, because we gotta have headphones. Give us a damn. Or I guess we don't need to have headphones. We're not playing any music. Or
do we need to make sure that it's probably good. You check the sound.
Maybe I could put the headphones in the mic. Oh, it's too fucked up. Could we just?
Well, we can just play it.
All right, let's just play it. Can we put these shits in? So
we don't need to hear it, but.
Oh, we don't need to hear it.
I mean, I guess. No, we did. I mean. What we said.
Okay. So this is what? What is this?
This is the Monroe Institute, like gateway tapes. I don't know what the exact.
This is like their thing that you were talking about. Their sounds that they play.
Yes, and that's.
Meditate on the sounds, dude. I have a tape that's like meditation sounds of the beach, and it's like. It gives me the same effect that I imagine this might.
Yeah. The idea is that you'd be able to fall into a deep state of concentration and go into these different, like...
Is the gateway... What I want to know is if the gateway experience is literally just a CIA discovery, like... official government name for something that hippies have been practicing for fucking ever.
I think it's both. It's like, is this the first thing that the government has been working on this, or just things? What else are they like?
What if they started the whole thing? What if the fucking government, everything on the media, everything in the news is a mass manifestation to keep all the fucking evil retards at bay with a bunch of shit on TV, and just to fucking keep them in place while they slowly release. I'm like, all right, the world is exiting this giant black hole and everything's coming to normal. We can take these fake CGI atrocities off TV and start slowly telling people, guys, you're fucking stupid. You guys fucking have yourselves in a fucking soul prison. Ooh, what's the conscious
matrix? We are ready now for the next exercise.
Oh my god, I don't like that at all.
Move your arms, move your legs, so that they are in the most comfortable position for you.
Oh,
Turn on
so
your
let me
back,
explain
on
what.
your side,
I'm sorry, I didn't even
on your
explain what this
stomach.
is. What they're
Yeah.
trying to do.
Whichever
It's
way
frightening.
is the most comfortable place
The idea
and
is
way for you to lie.
is that you can
Do this while I wait.
enhance a person's strength, like cognitive function, sense of awareness, just like to the point where you can be outside the realms of reality.
Do you like see something, or do you just exist there on like a soul level?
Both. I think sometimes you have like visions at a certain point, and then
Like psychics, basically.
yeah,
How psychics?
yeah.
The thing about psychics, people don't understand. They can't
Move
tell you
now
exactly
to your
what the
security
fuck is gonna
repository
happen,
box.
but they can tell you like
Place in
basically
the box
what's gonna happen, and it
all
is
of
gonna
your
happen.
physical
It's just
matter,
that the dressing on top
worries,
of it might be
anxieties, and
different
concerns.
than you can
As
possibly
you know,
imagine.
they simply get in the way during the exercise, so put them in for safekeeping and close the heavy lid tightly.
So consciousness matrix is pretty far out.
Should we
When
pause
you have
it?
done this, turn away from your security.
This is cool, and I like it, and it's actually very soothing, to be honest with you. But it also is from the government, so it freaks me out. What if
Yeah.
halfway through it's like, by the way, your trigger word is banana, and then I'm like, I must shoot people.
You know, I've not made it through all the way, so don't rule that out.
I won't roll that out.
Listen at your own risk.
Yeah, for real. Be careful of Monroe tapes. Mr. Medicare, after the last shooting before the Jeffrey Epstein thing happened in the summer, the same week when I quit one of my jobs and went on a weird psychedelic tirade, which led me to this very point that we're at now, it was the same week that Jeffrey Epstein happened and a shooting happened. Sam Hyde released a crazy video that made no sense, and then Mr. Medicare went online to post a bunch of stuff bringing up how it's weird that all these the shooter that had happened that summer in Texas, which was another big white supremacist quote unquote one, was like a wimpy looking kid who wore like deathcore band shirts, dated all the fucking emo girls, and had a weird new age psychologist doctor dad. And he ended up being the next shooter. And Mr. Medicare was like, these people always have weird doctor, psychologist, psychoanalyst, new age weirdo parents. So there's a couple options. That's actually true, and this new age stuff seems great until it actually turns evil, and then you realize that you're worshiping Satan, and then you can either drop it all and become a Christian, or you fucking end up doing something atrocious. Or, all that shit is meme. It's all on the internet. It's not even fucking true. And it's just all a meme. And people like Medicare don't even exist. It's just fucking reptilian lizards laughing at you for believing it.
That's crazy. Anyways, no, sorry not to say anyways.
No, anyways, we should get back to it.
Just like really shitty summary of consciousness matrix is that
Wait, I want to read this.
you want to
actually.
read this.
Yeah,
You want to dive deep.
Yeah, it looks cool. The universe is composed of interacting energy fields. Fucking sorry. Oh my god, dude. I love these CIA documents. Straight up. I feel love in my heart for these CIA documents. That's a fucking sentence that this is the first show that's probably ever been said on.
Really? That's great.
First show ever in the history of the world.
Oh, in the world?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love these CIA documents.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's ever said that.
No.
Except for right now, it's happening now. But yeah,
Composed
some at rest and some in motion. Yes, does it? Yes. Yes. This is just like I win, dude. Hold on, I'm gonna stand up in victory for a second.
Yes.
Because I win. Thank you for showing these to me.
Dude, happy to.
God damn. I gotta just look at my damn chakra flag over here. Look at all these religious books. This fucking carpet, dude. I knew all this shit the whole time. Alright, I'm back. Yes! Sorry, I'm just happy. I'm excited. Anyways, the universe is composed of interacting energy fields, some at rest and some in motion. It is, in and of itself, one gigantic hologram of unbelievable complexity. According to the theories of Carl Pribram, a neuroscientist at Stanford University, and David Baum, that's how I believe that's pronounced, physicist at the University of London, the human mind is also a hologram which attunes itself to the universal. Wait.
Where are you?
The human mind is also a hologram which attunes itself to the universal, the state. Is there supposed to be a period after to the universal? Like to the universal period? Wait, no, I think it says hologram again. That's why it's fucking me up. Fucking the human mind must be a fucking hologram because ours don't goddamn work. The human mind is also a hologram which attunes itself to the universal hologram by the medium of energy exchange, thereby deducing meaning and achieving the state which we call consciousness. With respect to states of expanded or altered consciousness such as gateway uses, the process operates in the following way. Oh, yes! Sorry, I'm so happy. As energy passes through various aspects of the universal hologram and is perceived by the electrostatic fields which comprise the human mind, the holographic images being conveyed are projected upon those electrostatic fields of the mind and are perceived or understood to the extent that the electrostatic field is operating at a frequency and amplitude that can harmonize with and therefore determine the configuration and hence the character of the holographic energy matrix which the mind projects to intercept, meaning directly from the holographic transmissions of the universe. Then, to make sense of what the holographic image is quote-unquote saying to it, the mind proceeds to compare the image just received with itself. Specifically, it does this by comparing the image received with that part of its own hologram which constitutes memory. Fuck. Dude. I've never felt so justified. Oh my god. I've never felt so justified in my entire life, to be quite frank with you.
Really?
Yeah. No, dude, I'm reading this here. This is like a CIA document saying, hey, David, all those things you think about are true.
Yeah.
All those wild ideas, dude. You've heard me talk about crazy shit like this. This is basically what I've been telling you I've been thinking about for the last couple of weeks. Like, that's fucked, man. The fact that it's all real. Dude, I remember once I was in a bar with this guy who I used to talk to about weird spiritual stuff. He was my first, like, spiritual homie. And one time I was there with another guy that I played music with on a sit drum, and we started talking. And they started talking for the first time because they both knew me. I was like, hey, I love both of you guys. You guys got to talk to each other. And so I was standing there. He started talking. He was like, hey, how's it going? He's like, hey, name? Oh, yeah, I started meeting you, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, I know Dave. And he's like, yeah, I know Dave, too. He's like, yeah, Dave's a cool guy. We played music once. He's like, yeah, I don't know anybody who wears their heart on their sleeve quite like Dave does. And I was like, oh, man, thank you guys. But they weren't even looking at me. They were just looking at each other. And he's like, yeah, man. He's like, you believe in any weird shit? He's like, I believe in simulation theory. And the one guy's like, oh, yeah, I think we definitely live in a simulation. And I was just standing there like, yes. Literally, I was just like so happy. That's the thing. Most people would hear this shit. Most people can't handle it. Like, Joe Schmo off the fucking street, who's fucking getting his newspaper, taking the kids inside and taking a nap, fucking doesn't even for 2 seconds want to think about this shit. Because he can't fucking handle it. For some reason, when I hear this shit, somebody could come to me right now and press a button and I can like see through my hands, like see the fucking grid in my hands and realize I'm like a video game character, and I would be so happy. Straight up. Like, I would be so happy about that. Like, most people would be like, no, what? I'd be like, yes. For real. Like, that's just how it is.
That's what the government says. Do you trust the government?
I do now. No, I think, because here's the thing, the government's run by the people, right? I think the people want everything to be terrible. I think the people suck. I think they're just full of shit.
Some of them.
I think a lot of people suck. Everybody's now talking about that all the other countries are getting better from coronavirus and America's the only one that's not. There's no way that's true. America just sucks. Everybody in America just sucks. And so everywhere else is probably cool as fuck.
I want to get out. I want to leave the country.
I've been thinking about it too, but I also don't know because there's parts of the country that I would like to experience also. Fuck, alright, should we keep reading this though?
Yeah.
By registering different... Oh, fuck me. By registering differences in geometric form and an energy frequency, the consciousness perceives. See Exhibit 2, next page. As psychologist Keith Floyd puts it, contrary to what everyone knows is so, it may not be the brain that produces consciousness, but rather consciousness that creates the appearance of the brain. This, I once said on a different podcast that I only guested on for one episode where I barely said anything. I said, what if we don't have guts until we get stabbed? Fucking the CIA just told me I'm right, so thank you so much. Thank you so much, dude. Damn, man, this is crazy. Who did this shit? What is the... Because this is on their official website, right? The CIA.gov library reading room. Like, this is... Like, I mean... Here's the thing, right? Like, I win.
You win.
That's the bottom line. Because I called this shit, and now here's the government on their official website saying that it's fucking true, okay? So, whether you're... The only way that... No, fuck everyone. Whether you're like a fucking Trump lover, or whether you're like a blue hair, fuck the government, but we're gonna believe everything they say, right? The government's saying this shit. I've been saying this shit. Everyone's been knowing this shit. And it's so fucking true. The CIA documents have been out from 2003. And everyone's so fucking dumb that nobody even knows it exists.
Here's the consciousness energy grid.
Oh, I love it, dude.
Left hemisphere with...
These pictures could have been in, like, Be Here Now by Ram Dass. Straight up. I could totally see that.
Left hemisphere consciousness grid acts like a mind computer software to reduce input from right hemisphere to verbal symbols and concepts.
See, this is why this book got to me, because it's fucking simulated into the damn thing.
Is that what that book's about?
That's part of it. It's about a lot of things, but one of the parts is one of the ladies, she's telling her story, and she talks about how after a bunch of rebirthing experiences, it's really weird. It's hard to even explain. You literally have to read this book. You got to read it to believe it. But there's one part where she's sitting there talking about how she was feeling the different energy in her brain, in the different sides of her brain. So she was taking negative thoughts in her left brain, I believe, materializing them into some sort of image that she could imagine, and then taking all this vibrating energy that she felt from her right side and putting it over into the left side to dissolve the negative thoughts. And she said it was like her problems just disappeared.
Weird.
Yeah, and this is saying that shit's fucking possible.
You can tap into it.
Exactly. The people have the power, man. But the cool thing is, I think the simulation or whatever has got some sort of sense of good. Because when people do try and do shit for evil, they always fall. Like, they always fall. Like, when people are doing evil shit, Chris D'Elia, he's fallen. Like, more people are going to fall. It's just a domino effect. If you're up to shady shit, it's going to...
That doesn't exist in this era of, like, secrecy. Like, everything's in the open, kind of.
Everything's half...
Hot take, I know.
Everything's half in the open, but not really. Everybody fake shares. They say some shit that you shouldn't actually be telling people, but by saying it in sort of a post-ironic way, they think it like gives them some sort of faux fucking confidence, and it's fucking childish. And there's so many people that I wish I could shave their heads. Just be like, you're a fucking loser.
Why shave their heads?
Just because they need it. Just fucking hold them down, shave their heads. Say, you're a fucking loser. People need that.
I don't know how I'd feel if that happened. If like I was like doing something, like I was like making lasagna and you barged in and you're like, ah! You started shaving my head. I might be traumatized after that.
Only people who deserve it.
Okay.
Somebody who's like, oh my god, like, blah, 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 I fucking totally believe in this fucking issue. And then, like, they fucking see... I don't know. There's two things I hate.
Is that like the 8th circle of hell? Is you running in and shaving people's heads? You're just on the loose.
It's not. It would be. Is that like? Wait. Is that like the circle? Is that like when you get out of hell at that point? Or are you too deep to come back?
I think at the end you come back. I don't know.
I hope so, because that's what it would be intended to do. That
Yeah,
would be
that would be the final one.
Yeah, it would be the final straw. It'd be like you're fucking, not you specifically, but somebody who needs it is in their kitchen. They're fucking doing something.
You're gonna shave my head?
No, not your head. You don't deserve it, Dawson. You're on the right path. You don't need it. But someone's in their kitchen, and then fucking I pop out, right? Boom. Handcuffs around the fucking hands. Boom. Kick out the knees so they fall on the knees. Razor. Fucking what the fuck? Boom, boom. Look at them. You're a fucking loser. What if somebody wasn't here to protect you like I am? Take their fucking handcuffs off and leave.
Like, you're fine. Get up.
Yeah. You ever seen V for Vendetta? When he fucking captures her, he like captures her and shaves her head and makes her think that she's in jail and that he's dead and that she's got a cellmate who's like writing her letters, and then her cellmate gets killed, and then one day the door opens and she's like, I've been in prison for years, and she comes out and it's just his house. She's like, what the fuck? He's like, I had to teach you that you fucking, in order for this like revolution to happen, I had to fucking show you. You had to know what it means. And I remember when I first saw that movie, I turned to Brandon, who I was watching it with. I was like, what the fuck is that? That's so fucked up. Why didn't he do that to her?
Yeah.
I remember thinking that. But now, I still think that. I would just do it. Also.
What do you got to lose?
I don't have to lose anything.
Exactly.
Back to our CIA documents.
Yeah, and then your right brain like produces like the hologram.
So, software to reduce input from right... Hold on, let me think about this for a sec. The left part acts like the mind's computer software to reduce input from the right hemisphere to verbal symbols and concepts. So, the right hemisphere sees all this shit and like takes in all the images, and then the left hemisphere manages to conjure it into language, basically.
Yes.
Cool. There's another fucking weird New Age book about that kind of shit. Oh no, it wasn't a New Age book. I once watched like an hour-long speech. Dude, I can't believe I spend so many fucking hours talking to people about such bullshit, and I like know all this shit.
Yeah, why don't you talk about this?
Because nobody else fucking will listen. I'm surrounded by idiots.
I'll listen.
Yes. You're someone I fucking... Fuck yeah.
Yes.
But what is it? Oh yeah, I once watched like an hour-long video, and it was literally like a speech. It was like a scholarly speech by like some professor, and he just talked about technology and human beings. And he was like, well, what is technology? And then he defined technology, like what the word means. And then he was like, some people don't think about it, but one of the first technologies ever invented by human beings was language. And he goes on to explain why language is a technology. And it's why fucking magic and people like why magic is like a weird verbal thing. In that episode of Midnight Gospel, he says magic is an oral tradition. It's like, it's just the same concept. Literally. Like
It is. It's just, there's just different ways to explain it.
Yeah. So wait, is this saying that the whole world's like a hologram? Like it's like a simulation basically?
Everything is.
Yeah, so like we live in a simulation basically is what it's saying. Is it saying like literally like it's a computer? It's like it's a bunch of organisms making up a weird. It's like a simulation. It's like sci-fi.
It could be like a ghastly cloud. Like it
So
could be anything. They don't know what it is. It's just one way of. It's a good way to describe it so you can understand how the process works.
Yes.
I think.
Dude, that's exactly what this fucking book is like all about for real. And I'm totally gonna let you borrow that. Have you read more of Men and Feelings?
Yes, I have. I read it on my lunch break at work.
Oh yeah, what do you think about it so far?
I really dig it. It's really like.
It's just straightforward.
Mm-hmm. It's just tugging along, you know. It's like I'll read a page here, read a page there.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like trying to beat you over the head, and it's not like trying to give you too much. It's like here's just a good starting point, basically. Mm-hmm. I really like it too because it's just like normal. It's just like it gives you very simple but like still effective methods and like thoughts. Y'all should read that book. It's called Men and Feelings.
It's in my backpack right now.
Oh fuck yeah, yeah, dude. Fuck yeah, that's such a. Which was the last? Oh, what was the last part that you read in it?
I'm on chapter 5.
Have you gotten to the part where they talk about the steps of feeling the feeling, and that you shouldn't feel bad for feeling feelings because everybody feels feelings. It's when you act on the feeling that determines the morality of it.
That's what I just read. And they give the example of stealing money.
Yeah.
From the your coworker's table, and
which when I read that, I immediately flashed back to when I found a credit card on the floor of Funko, and I went out of my way to find who it fucking belonged to. So I was like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah. I didn't screw this up.
Yeah, but fucking no, that's one of my favorite parts because that's such a good lesson. Honestly, it didn't really hit me as hard until like literally like 2 days ago. I was thinking about it, and I was like, fuck, that's so true.
It's like you could benefit yourself, or you could.
Yeah, and if you're like
do the right thing.
Yeah, exactly. But here's the thing also, if you don't know necessarily what the right thing is, and you're like, but you know that like maybe a situation makes you feel negative, and like you have a harder time expressing negative emotions, and you don't want to express those negative emotions towards somebody to where you'll have a reason to feel bad because you maybe hurt someone's feelings, until you get more used to expressing those emotions, I think the best course of action is to immediately, don't even give the other person an explanation. Like, even if they're in the middle of talking, just walk away and immediately separate yourself from the situation, and then go process it and maybe talk to yourself. And then after you do that enough, I'm sure like whatever you're saying by yourself to help you calm down is just what you'll end up saying immediately to the other person.
Probably.
That's my thought on it. All right. Woofs. Dude, shall we even continue? I mean, fuck. It's so good already.
I know. There's a summary of it at the end, kind of.
What, take me to the next time, space, dimension. Dude, I'm going to read this on my, like, own time.
Yeah, no, do it. It's worth it. It's worth it.
It looks so worth it.
It's worth, like, a real, like, in-depth read.
Yeah, dude. Dude, see, I'm telling you, the Sam Hyde guys, the $1 Million Extreme guys are onto something. They have, like, a weird meme thing about CIA documents. Where they, like, always put fucking CIA documents in, like, their videos and shit. Well, what's that going on?
It's how the, it's shown up here, I think, a little bit better.
Ooh. Why do they look like fucking children's drawing? That one's really good, but the first one looks like a children's drawing. Figure C, stylized rendition of a simple torus. What's a torus? Figure B, a diagram of the cosmic egg.
There you go.
I am the Eggman, dude. John Lennon, I'm the walrus. It comes back around again.
Yes. So, you know, you can see here, like, there's a black hole, white hole, and, you know, it kind of just goes in a circle.
Black, white hole. Why do the energy goes in a circle and then it goes in there? Where does it come out from?
Where does it come out from?
Where's like, because look at it, like, or it's point
the
where the
black hole
flow of
sucks
time.
it up,
yeah.
and the white hole shoots out of the white hole, and then it's drawn either up, or I guess it's drawn both ways, and on the outside is the direction of time space evolving, and then where it shoots out from and splits and starts turning into that. The point where the flow of time space returns towards the opposite poles.
Is this happening just in like your own mind? Is that what they're talking
It's
about?
happening all around us.
Is it
or
like
we are it. That's everything.
Is it turning into that?
Yes. And inside that is us.
Right now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Does it have to go through that process up there, or did it already do that?
It's doing it forever.
That's weird. That's weird.
Yada yada yada. There's a lot of really cool stuff in here. I do have to go to bed for work.
You know, that's completely fine. We've been fucking on a good ass roll here, and I think I want to read some of these by myself, and then maybe we'll come back and do another episode. CIA Reloaded.
Yes. What I want to do was I want to go and print this out and come back and like have stuff highlighted and like I wanted to have a thing prepared.
Like go like over a legit thing. We'll totally do that. We'll totally do that.
Yes.
Because we had a great conversation here. I think this is the beginning of a great co-hosting. Not all the time probably, but like whenever you can be here, co-hosting thing.
Whenever I'm around.
Yeah, next time you're on the show, we should definitely do that. We should have these highlighted, and we should come back with like a straight up CIA, here's why we're fucking right episode. Like, fuck all y'all.
CIA proved it.
Yeah, CIA proved us right. Oh shit, sorry about that. A CIA proved us right show. But in any case, up until that happens, if we can go back here for just a second, I gotta say something to all y'all on this very night. And what I gotta say to you is that I cannot thank you enough for fucking being here on the God.
Oh, the rich people want what the poor people got, and the poor people want what the rich people got, and the skinny people want what the fat people got, and the fat people want what the skinny people got. You can never get any more party in this world. The short people
Bye, guys.
want what the tall people got, and the tall people want what the short people got. The little kids want what the big kids got, and the big kids want what the little kids got. You can never get any party in this world. Oh, the girls with short hair want long hair, and the girls with long hair want short hair. Oh, the boys with cars want motorcycles, and the boys with motorcycles want cars. You can never be anybody in this world. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you say. There will always be one who wants it the opposite way. It doesn't matter where you go. It doesn't matter who you see. There will always be someone who disagrees. We do our best. We try to please, but we're like the rest. We're never at ease. Oh, the rich people want what the poor people got, and the poor people want what the rich people got, and the skinny people want what the fat people.
Nice. There we go.
Matthew tweeted, "Bring it back, sandwich
That was a
emoji.
Subway commercial.
Hit it, Charlie!"
I'll play the
In the O's.